Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I'm outside. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous January day. And if you can't see by the brilliant sunshine behind me, I'm so excited to be out here today. I just got back from the nursery that's down the street from my house, and I picked up a few things that I'm really excited about, some things that I want to get planted out today, so I'm going to take you along with that. And then also I'm going to be sowing some microgreens to grow on the windowsill, because it's one of my favorite things to do this time of year. It adds a freshness to whatever you want to top with them, and I love adding them to salads, on top of my avocado toast, just anything. And microgreens, just they taste so fresh and they are delicious and very good for you. So I'm going to take you along for that, and then also I'm going to be getting started on my seed starting plan. And I can't remember if I shared any of this with you last year, but I'll go through with how I get started with my planning. I probably won't film the whole thing because it is kind of a long process, but I'll definitely walk you through how I plan and how I divvy up the seeds, and maybe go over a few varieties and goals for the seeds that I'm starting this year. And yeah, I'm really excited. It's chilly today, not too chilly. I think the high is going to be 43, but the weather is perfect, and I'm just feeling really good about being outside right now. So let's get started on sowing some microgreens. Sowing microgreens is actually really easy. I just picked up an all-purpose potting mix from the hardware store, and then I just chose some random seeds from my collection to plant. And you want to choose, obviously you want to choose, like, you wouldn't want to eat like a tomato sprout or a pepper sprout, or, you know, flowers or anything. Although I feel like maybe nasturtium sprouts might be actually tasty. So I chose a mustard. I like to use greens mostly, not lettuce, but like kale and things like mustard. And then I have some radish, these are French breakfast radishes. The seeds are kind of old. I've got some pink beauty radishes. These seeds are from 2023, so I want to use them up. I've got some peas here. Beet greens are really delicious. Some broccoli. I'm not going to use all of it because I want to plant more broccoli this fall. Some cabbage, and I also want to plant some more cabbage this fall. The slugs got to all my cabbage last fall, so I only have 2 left. One of them is looking really good, and then the other one's still kind of small, so I'm not sure if it's going to work out, but we'll see. And then this is some red Russian kale. These seeds are pretty old too, so I want to use these up. And then I just have here, this is like what you put under pots, like one of the little plates. So this one I used a lot last year, and then this is just from the grocery store. I also have this little one with a lid. This had tomatoes in it. I'll probably remove the lid, and then I do wrap these in I wrap them in plastic to help with germination. Wrap them in, they're like, it's just the plastic produce bags, and then once they're sprouted, then I take the plastic off and let them do their thing on the windowsill. It'll be here in my kitchen. But yeah, so I'm gonna get started. I'm just gonna do these 2 today. I'll save this one for later, but I will definitely show you what the results are when these have sprouted, and I'll share with you how I like to use them in my cooking. Just gonna fill. And there's no rhyme or reason to how I'm doing this. I just sprinkle the seeds. Kind of like chaos gardening, but for your windowsill. And I love to use up old seeds for this because some will germinate and some won't, but it'll, you know, it's a great way to use up seeds. These little pink beauty radishes. I might try growing some mustard in the garden too. It's a really tasty green, and I love the spiciness. I'm excited to try them as my microgreens too. And I don't think I'm going to use the peas today. I'm going to use this kale for sure. The thing I love about microgreens is that anyone can do it. No matter if you have a backyard or not, or a garden, you can do it on your windowsill. And I just love that. I love types of things like that. I love like indoor herb gardens on your windowsill too. And there's so many ways to grow or like regrow like green onions and celery. I have never tried it, but I'm thinking I might someday soon. Just try regrowing some of the produce that we buy. See how that goes. These are Detroit dark red beets, and I think I'm gonna try to do some in the garden too, so I don't want to use them all. I'm just gonna sprinkle these guys around. Oops, lost one. So I'm just gonna pat these down a little. Maybe do a few more beets. There's a lot in this packet. And I think I'll do a bit of broccoli in this one. And I think maybe some cabbage in that. Actually, I'm just gonna use all this. I can get more broccoli seeds if I need them, which I will. So broccoli in here. Cabbage in here. Brassicas are really tasty too. Alright. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just sprinkle some more potting soil over these. Not too much. You don't want it to be too deep. And then I will get these wet. I have a spray bottle that I'm going to use just so they don't move around too much. And then I'm going to bring them inside and put them on in my kitchen window and see how long it takes for us to get some fresh microgreens. Alright, so we're in my kitchen. Excuse any mess that you can see. So I'm putting plastic underneath this one because it has holes in the bottom and I want to protect my counters. And that's why I really love these types of things. I also found this one. It's glass or ceramic, and I might do something in here, but not today. And then this is what I'm going to use to, oops. Definitely don't want to like squirt like that. There. So I'm going to use this to just water these down. And then I'm going to put plastic over them as like a little greenhouse. And in a few days, we should have some microgreen sprouts. I would say it takes a week to 2 weeks from planting to be able to harvest. I also on my blog have a blog post about how to grow microgreens, and I'll link that blog post below. Again, there's really no rhyme or reason for it, or on how to do it. Plant whatever seeds that you want. I particularly love radish and kale microgreens, but if you don't like radishes or kale, I would steer clear of those. And you can also do lettuce or whatnot. Like a mesclun mix would be really tasty, like a spicy mesclun. Arugula or rocket, if you're in the UK, is really delicious as well and super peppery. But yeah, it couldn't be easier. And now I'm gonna put it on my kitchen windowsill, and I will share with you the progress next week and then the week after that. Alright, so one little garden chore down, and the next is to plant out what else I bought at the nursery, which is these two little Swiss chard plants. I grew Swiss chard last year, first time I ever was successful in growing it, and I planted way too much. So this year I decided while I was at the nursery just to buy, there's like two little crowns here, so I'm going to plant those out in the garden. And then these beautiful little snowdrops. I've always wanted snowdrops in our garden, and so today's the day. I'm going to add them, and then we'll have them every year, which I'm very excited about. So we are going to be adding more soil to these, some more compost to the raised beds this year. That's my hope anyway. But I am just gonna put this guy here in the little corner, and I don't think that he will take up so much space that it'll I don't think that it'll take up too much space. And then, because this is the bed that I like to put like the tomatoes in and the peppers, and this year I'm really excited. I'm gonna try bush beans. I usually like to grow them up a trellis, but I feel like I want to try bush beans and see how they do in the garden as well. So it's looking really good. And this is the Bright Lights variety of Swiss chard, so it'll have beautiful pink stalks when it grows up, which is one of the reasons I loved growing it last year. But it's really tasty in eggs and everything, and I'm excited to try different ways of cooking it this year too. And there we go. I'm going to take you up front and we're going to plant some snowdrops. So this is out front. We're under a tree, and behind you is the walk up to our house, to our front door. And so behind you also is a Japanese maple that I've planted daffodils and the little grape hyacinth, I think, and the little narcissus. And I do see that all of those are coming up, which is a really fun sign that spring is on its way. So I'm just gonna, I haven't gotten a lot to grow up here, except for weeds, obviously. And I'm not sure what type of weed this is, but I kind of like it. It kind of spreads a little bit, but I'm just gonna put them in here. I only bought 2, and then my hope is that they'll keep reproducing, and then I can just split them and move them to other places. And there we go. I'm really excited to have these here, and can't wait for them to come back year after year. I think it'll be a really fun surprise. Welcome to my living room. This is the brightest room in the house right now. The sun is at the front of our house right now, so the back, like the kitchen and the living, like our family room, it's like a cave and it gets really dark back there. So I'm in here and I just love how bright it is, and I'm sure the camera does too because you can actually see me. But this is where I'm going to get started on my seed starting plan, and all that I need to do this process is my calendar. So I just have my planner here, and then this is a bullet journal. I used to use it as my planner, but last year I really enjoyed using it to plan my garden out, and so this is what I use to plan out my garden. And I have sections for like gardening notes. I didn't do very well with making notes last year, which that's something that I really want to make sure that I do this year. But some of this will be helpful. And also, like when I do start my seed starting, I have seed starting trays with a bunch of cells, and so I like to keep track of what I plant, and usually I use those for flowers. I feel like when I plant vegetables in them, they get kind of tangled, and then you have to pot them really quickly because they're so small. But with flowers, usually by the time they're big enough to be up potted, they're probably ready to be planted out, and it'll be warm enough. So I do that in here. I have a section for garden projects that I want to do, which I didn't really have any last year. Garden books that I read last year, which I'll be adding to because I read a few new ones this year. And when I say read, I flip through and get inspiration, and then any sections that I deem most important, I probably read. Like, I don't read through every single like big thick book that people write, but I love looking at the pictures and getting insight on what, like, a certain thing that I want to learn more about. And then this is my seed starting plan. You can't really see from that far away. Let me get up and I'll show you closer. I'm sorry it got wet last year, but it's just really simple. So I write the average last frost date at the top, and then I figure out I like to sow my seeds every Saturday. So I start with the first Saturday in February, and I go all the way down until the last Saturday in May. And then once I've done that, I go through these storage bins. So once I have all my weeks down, then I start going through these bins and picking out the vegetables that I want to grow. And then I look at the back of the seed packet, and I see when they suggest to start the seeds. And if it says like 2 to 3 weeks before the last frost, start indoors. So I'll go, here's March 30th, for example. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks back would have been March 2nd. And last year on March 2nd, I started tomatoes, cayenne, jalapeno indoors, and then lettuce outdoors. So I also make sure to note if I'm going to be starting them indoors or outdoors, and it just helps keep me organized, lets me know what the plan is for that Saturday of sowing, and it works out really well for me, and I can't take credit for it. If you are on YouTube with the lady over at Whispering Willow Farm, this is how she plans out her seed starting, and hers is on a way bigger scale than mine, obviously, but this works so well for me. And I think this year I'm going to give myself bigger boxes because it was very squished. And especially because after like the first week of April, I don't really sow anything. And so there's a lot of space that I can utilize to make the boxes bigger. And then on this page, there's also a little map of my yard. It's like a super rough map, not to scale. And it's just, I've labeled all my growing areas. So when I go through, and I didn't do this last year, I don't know why I didn't. I go through and I decide which zone I'm gonna plant my tomatoes in that year, which zone I'm gonna plant my pumpkins in, which zone I'm gonna plant beans or peas in, where am I gonna plant my radishes. So when I am ready to start transplanting or direct sowing, I don't have to like decide where I'm gonna grow them, because I already have that planned. So I'm gonna refine my little list here, maybe add a column of like growing, or I guess I could on a separate page, like this tomato is gonna go in growing zone B, or this pumpkin is gonna go in growing zone D. So, and then I also have, last year I put here like a little grocery list of seeds that I wanted to buy. And there's a few that I have already bought some seeds that I probably didn't need, but I love to buy seeds. It's like, it brings me so much joy. And I'll go through, I bought a few seeds today that I'll show you. And then, but yeah, so I like to give myself a little grocery list. Like I know there's a few other pumpkin varieties that I'd like to try this year. So I'm gonna put those down, and I probably won't buy those till February, because I'm probably not going to be starting pumpkins until, let's see, when did I start pumpkins last year? Oh yeah, I didn't start pumpkins until the first week of April, so I have plenty of time to buy those. But yeah, so this is just, I like the bullet journal because I can create layouts, and it just helps keep me organized, and I have places to write notes and everything. So this one's really cute. I don't know where I got it. Oh, Archer and Olive. I can link their website down below. I also have a detailed blog post about how to set up a seed starting plan for yourself, and I'll link that below as well. And I'm not gonna go like too in depth here today, because this is kind of a long process, and I feel like this video might be a little long already. But the other stuff that I have out here is my planner. It's basically just for a calendar. And then this is my favorite, one of my most favorite garden books that I have. It's Vegetable Gardening in the Pacific Northwest. And if I have a question about when is the best time to start like carrots or whatever outside, I always reference this. And I believe that they have this same book for different garden areas of the country as well. I know that I've seen something about like the Southwest. So it's something that you could pick up, and I just love it. I use it so much. Okay, and then the last thing I want to share with you is the seeds that I picked up today. Super excited. Like I said, I love buying seeds. Sometimes it can be a bit of a problem, and seeds are actually super expensive. They get expensive really quickly anyway. And so I really want to maybe start focusing on saving my own seeds as well for varieties that I really like. But yeah, let me show you what I got. So I got this Genovese basil. Love this variety. It grows really well in my garden. And I know that I do have other types of basil, so this won't be the only variety, but I love picking up a pack of these every year. These are Cosmos. They're specifically bouquet Cosmos, and they just looked fun. I love growing Cosmos. If you have been watching for any amount of time, or if you've seen any of my summer videos, Cosmos are very prominent in my garden. So I picked up another pack of those, even though I already have a ton. Last year I grew a bunch of pumpkins, and the only squash that I've really ever grown a lot of is zucchini, and I'm going to be growing less zucchini this year, and so I wanted to add another type of squash. I've grown spaghetti squash before in the past, and that turned out really well too. So I'm excited to, and these are super, I've heard really great things about honey nut squash. So they're like baby butternut, and it says that they save space because they climb. So I'm gonna try and grow these on a trellis. These are Envy zinnias, and I bought a pack of these last year, and I don't know what happened. They did not do anything. I didn't get any of these beautiful green ones, so I'm gonna try again this year. And then this is the Cinderella pumpkin, which I'm super excited to try. And there's a few other varieties from this botanical interest company that I want to try, but I'll just order those ones online. This is fennel, bulbing fennel. I love fennel. I've tried it in the past, but that was like around the beginning of when I was learning how to garden, and didn't work out too well. So I'm gonna try those again. Lacinato kale, dinosaur kale, super delicious, and I'm excited to try that. And then I bought 2 varieties of beans, and they're both bush beans. So these are purple ones, and then I also bought this jade bush bean. Like I said, I've always grown beans on a trellis, but I really want to try growing some bush beans this year and see how those do in my garden. And I feel like it'll be less hassle because then I don't have to put up, all I have to put up a trellis for is my little honey nut squashes. Last but not least is this packet of mammoth sunflowers. And a few years ago, I had one really big, beautiful sunflower, and it was like the pride of the garden. And so I'm really excited to try and grow some more. Last year, I grew Mexican sunflowers for the first time, and those were so beautiful, and I can't wait to put those in different spots of the garden too this year. So that's going to be it for me today. If you would like more detailed, like I said, if you would like a more detailed information about a seed, like doing your own seed starting plan, the link for that seed starting plan blog post is linked below. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I will definitely, if I get enough questions, I might just do a separate video about it, or I'll just respond to you in the comments below. But yeah, I hope that you liked this video. I love taking you along, planting out some snowdrops and this chard in the garden, and getting some microgreens sown. If you haven't yet, please subscribe so you don't miss any more of the garden fun this year. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, because it really supports the channel. And I hope that you're having a great day wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.